All set for the cruise, but my stepson said at check-in. The staff said only 2 cabins. Mine was canceled. I stood at the cruise terminal with my suitcase at my feet, watching Derek lean against the check-in counter with that relaxed confidence he always wore like a second skin. His wife, Amanda, stood beside him, scrolling through her phone, occasionally glancing up at the massive ship docked behind the glass windows. The terminal buzzed with excitement, families taking photos, couples holding hands, elderly passengers being wheeled toward the boarding area. "All set for the cruise," Derek called out to me, flashing that easy smile. I smiled back, feeling that familiar warmth in my chest. This trip had been planned for months. A 10-day Caribbean cruise, the 3 of us. A chance to finally spend some real time together after years of Derek keeping me at arm's length. He was my stepson. I'd married his mother when he was 14, and she'd passed away 6 years ago. Derek was 32 now, married, living 2 states away. We saw each other maybe twice a year, always brief visits, always with Amanda, doing most of the talking while Derek checked his phone or made excuses to step outside for calls. But this cruise felt different. Derek had invited me. Actually called me up 3 months ago and said, "Hey, we're planning this cruise. You should come. It'll be fun." I'd almost cried when he said it. I pulled out my confirmation email on my phone as I approached the counter. Derek and Amanda had already moved to the side, standing by a display of duty-free alcohol, discussing something in low voices. The woman behind the counter smiled at me professionally. "Name and confirmation number, please." I gave her both. She typed for a moment, then paused. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She looked at the screen, then at me, then back at the screen. "Is everything okay?" I asked. "One moment, sir." She typed more, clicked her mouse a few times, then picked up a phone and spoke quietly to someone. I couldn't hear what she was saying. Behind me, I could hear Derek laughing at something Amanda said. The woman set down the phone and looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Professional sympathy, maybe. "I'm very sorry, Mr. Harrison, but your reservation has been canceled." The words didn't register immediately. They sounded foreign, like she'd spoken in another language. "I'm sorry, what?" "Your cabin reservation was canceled 2 weeks ago. I see here that the cancellation was processed online through the primary account holder's login." My throat tightened. "That's not possible. I never canceled anything." "No, sir, I understand. But the booking was made under Mr. Derek Patterson's account, and the cancellation came through that same account." I turned to look at Derek. He was still talking to Amanda, not even glancing my way. "There must be a mistake," I said, turning back to the woman. "Can you check again?" She did. Her expression grew more apologetic. "I'm afraid there's no mistake, sir. The cancellation is confirmed. You would have received an email confirmation at the time." I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and opened my email. I searched for anything from the cruise line, nothing from 2 weeks ago, nothing about a cancellation. Then I checked my spam folder. There it was, dated exactly 14 days ago. Subject line, "Booking cancellation confirmation." I must have missed it. I'd been busy with work, with preparing for this trip. I'd assumed everything was set. Derek had said everything was set. Can I rebook?" I asked. My voice sounded small. The woman checked her computer. "I'm very sorry, sir. The ship is completely sold out. We have a waiting list, but at this point the chances of a cabin opening up are extremely slim." I stood there staring at the screen. She'd turned slightly toward me, showing my canceled reservation in red text. "Is there anything else I can help you with?" she asked gently. I shook my head. I couldn't speak. I picked up my suitcase handle and walked over to where Derek and Amanda stood. Derek looked up as I approached. "All checked in?" I stared at him. "My reservation was canceled." He blinked. "What?" "They're saying my cabin was canceled 2 weeks ago. Through your account." For just a fraction of a second, something flickered across his face. Not surprise. Something else. Then it was gone, replaced by confusion. "That's crazy," he said. "I didn't cancel anything." Amanda looked up from her phone. What's going on?" "His cabin got canceled somehow," Derek said to her. "Oh, no," Amanda said, but her tone was flat, rehearsed. "Did you cancel it?" I asked Derek directly. "What?" "No. Why would I do that?" "The cruise line said it was done through your account." He pulled out his phone, made a show of checking something. "I don't know what to tell you, man. I didn't touch your reservation. Maybe it was some kind of system error." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him. "They said the ship is sold out," I said. "I can't get another cabin." Derek sighed, running a hand through his hair. "That really sucks. I'm sorry." "Sorry? Yeah, I don't know what happened, but we can't exactly fix it now, right? We're about to board." I looked at Amanda. She was looking at Derek, not at me. "Maybe you can get a refund," Derek offered, "and we'll plan something else later. The three of us." "Later," I repeated. "Yeah, this is just bad timing. But hey, at least you found out now instead of getting all the way here and— Oh, wait, you did get all the way here." He laughed awkwardly. "Sorry, that came out wrong." They called for boarding, Derek and Amanda's group number. "We should probably get in line," Amanda said quietly. Derek nodded. He looked at me, and for a moment I thought he might say something real, something true. "Really sorry about this, man," he said instead. "We'll call you when we're back, okay?" And then they walked away. I stood there in the terminal, surrounded by excited families and happy couples, watching my stepson and his wife board a cruise ship I'd helped pay for, because I had helped pay for it. I'd given Derek $1,500 toward the trip when he first invited me, just to help cover some of the costs, he'd said. This way we can get better cabins. I'd sent the money immediately. Now I understood which cabins that money had covered. When I got home, I dropped my suitcase by the door and sat down at my kitchen table. The house was dark. I didn't turn on the lights. I thought about Derek as a kid, 14 years old when I'd met him, angry at the world, angry at his mom for dating again, angry at me for existing. I'd tried so hard with him. I'd gone to his basketball games, even when he never looked for me in the stands. I'd helped him with his math homework, even when he'd snap at me that I was doing it wrong. I'd driven him to friends' houses at midnight, waited in parking lots during parties, picked him up when he was too drunk to drive home safely, and never told his mother. When his mom got sick, I was the one who took him to visit her in the hospital every day. I was the one who held him when she died. I was the one who paid for half of his college tuition because she'd wanted him to finish school, and her life insurance hadn't been enough. I'd walked him through his first job interview. I'd helped him move 4 times. I'd given him $3,000 for his wedding. I'd never asked for anything back. I'd told myself it didn't matter that he never called me on Father's Day. I told myself it didn't matter that he rarely answered when I called him. I told myself that he was busy, that he had his own life, that I shouldn't expect more. But when he'd invited me on this cruise, I thought something had changed. I thought he finally saw me as family. I sat in my dark kitchen until nearly midnight, and then I opened my laptop. I pulled up my email and found the cancellation confirmation. I read it carefully. It had been sent at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. I remembered that night. I'd been at a work dinner, hadn't gotten home until after midnight. The cancellation had been deliberate. Someone had logged into Derek's account, found my reservation, and removed it. I opened a new tab and logged into my bank account. I found the $1,500 transfer to Derek, dated 3 months ago. Memo line, cruise. I sat back in my chair. Then I did something I probably should have done years ago. I started looking at every financial interaction I'd had with Derek over the past decade. $43,000 I'd given Derek over 10 years. College tuition, $12,000. Car down payment, $5,000. Wedding, $3,000. First house down payment, $8,000. Emergency loans for various crises, medical bills, car repairs, Amanda's student loans, credit card debt, $11,000. Smaller amounts for birthdays, holidays, just need help this month requests, $4,000. Not a single dollar paid back. I'd told myself it was okay. He was family. That's what you do for family. His mother would have wanted me to help him. He was just getting on his feet. But $43,000, I felt sick. I also started remembering conversations I'd dismissed at the time, like 2 years ago when I'd helped Derek with another $500 for a supposedly urgent car repair. A week later, I saw photos on his Facebook of him and Amanda at a ski resort. When I'd mentioned it casually, "Oh, didn't know you guys were planning a trip," he'd gotten defensive. It was just a weekend thing. Amanda's parents paid for it. Except Amanda's parents lived on a fixed income. I knew that because Derek had told me so once, years earlier, or the time Derek had asked me for $3,000 for medical bills after Amanda had a minor surgery. I'd sent it immediately. 6 months later, at their house for a brief visit, I'd noticed a brand new 85-inch television and a complete furniture set for their living room. "Got a great deal," Derek had said when he saw me looking. "Must have been quite a deal," I'd replied. He'd changed the subject, or the time, this was 4 years ago, when Derek called me crying, actually crying. He said he was about to lose his apartment because he'd fallen behind on rent. He needed $2,000. Immediately. He'd pay me back within a month. Promise. I'd sent it that same day. He never mentioned it again. When I'd brought it up 3 months later, gently, just asking if things were more stable now, he'd acted like he didn't remember. "Oh, that? Yeah, man, that was tough. But we got through it. Things are good now." No mention of repayment, and I'd let it go. Because that's what I did. I let things go. "So listen, we just got off the ship. The cruise was amazing. Seriously, you would have loved it. The food was incredible, and we did this excursion in Cozumel." "Derek? Yeah? Why did you cancel my cabin?" Silence. Then, "I told you, I didn't—" "Don't." Another pause. "Look," he said, his voice shifting, becoming harder, "I don't know what you want me to say. The truth would be nice. The truth is, I don't know what happened with your reservation. Maybe you clicked something by accident. Maybe there was a glitch. I don't know. It was canceled from your account. Then maybe someone hacked my account. I don't know. Why are you so focused on blaming me for this?" I closed my eyes. "Did you use my $1,500 to upgrade your cabin?" "What? You asked me for money to help cover costs. Did you use it to upgrade your and Amanda's cabin?" "Jesus Christ," Derek muttered. "You're really going to make this about money?" "Answer the question. You gave us that money as a gift. I gave you that money because you invited me on the trip and said it would help cover costs. For all of us. Was that a lie? I don't have to explain my financial decisions to you." "You're right," I said. "You don't." Another pause. "Are we done here?" Derek asked. I looked at the spreadsheet still open on my laptop. $43,000. "Yeah," I said quietly. "I think we are." I hung up. Derek didn't call back. The first paragraph said that he felt I had unfairly attacked him and that he was disappointed in how I'd handled the cruise situation. The second paragraph said that he and Amanda had discussed it and they thought it would be best for everyone if we took some space from each other for a while. The third paragraph said that he hoped I understood and that maybe we could reconnect down the road when things had cooled off. He signed it. Best, Derek. Not love, not even take care, just best. I read it 3 times. Then I closed my laptop and walked outside. I stood in my backyard and looked at the garden I'd been planning to plant. I'd bought all the supplies 2 weeks ago. Seeds, soil, a new set of tools. I'd been planning to invite Derek and Amanda over once the garden was finished. I'd imagined us sitting on the patio having dinner. Derek maybe saying something like, "This looks great. You did a good job." I'd imagined him finally seeing me. Standing there in my backyard, I realized something. He did see me. He saw me perfectly. He just saw me as someone to use. For the first time in 10 years, I simply stopped reaching out, stopped offering help, stopped making excuses for him in my own head. 2 weeks passed, then a month, then 2 months. Derek didn't contact me. I wasn't surprised. What did surprise me was how quiet my life became, and how much I didn't mind it. I finished planting my garden. I started going to a woodworking class on Thursday nights. I reconnected with some old friends I'd been neglecting. I read books I'd been meaning to read for years. I took a weekend trip to the mountains by myself. I stopped checking my phone every hour, hoping for a message from Derek. I stopped lying awake at night, wondering what I'd done wrong. I just stopped. I'd met Nicole a few times at family gatherings. She was younger than Amanda, maybe 25, and had always been polite but distant. We'd never had a real conversation. I accepted the request, confused. An hour later, she sent me a message. "Hi, I know this is random, but can I ask you something?" I stared at the message. "Sure," I typed back. "Did something happen between you and Derek?" My stomach tightened. "Why do you ask?" "Because Amanda mentioned you guys aren't talking anymore, and when I asked why, she got really vague. Then I heard my parents talking about it, and they seemed, I don't know, uncomfortable, like they knew something." I didn't respond immediately. "I'm sorry if this is overstepping," Nicole continued. "It's just that you always seem nice, and I remember Amanda saying some stuff about you before that didn't really match up with how you actually were when I met you." "What kind of stuff?" I asked. There was a long pause. "She used to complain about you a lot, like a lot. She'd say you were always trying to insert yourself into their lives, that you were needy, that Derek felt obligated to include you in things because you didn't have anyone else." I read her words several times. "Did Derek say those things too?" I asked. "I don't know. I only heard Amanda's side, but she definitely made it sound like you were, I don't know, kind of pathetic. And then when I actually met you, you just seemed like a normal guy who was trying to be nice to his stepson." I didn't know what to say. "I'm sorry," Nicole wrote. "I probably shouldn't have said anything. I just felt weird about it." "It's okay," I typed. "Thank you for telling me." "Can I ask what actually happened?" I thought about it. Then I told her the whole story, the cruise, the cancellation, the money, all of it. When I finished, there was a long silence. Then, "Holy shit." Then, "I'm so sorry." Then, "That's so much worse than I thought." We messaged back and forth for a while. Nicole seemed genuinely upset. She said she'd had no idea about the money. She said Amanda had always made it sound like Derek was the one supporting me, not the other way around. Before we stopped talking, Nicole said something that stuck with me. "For what it's worth, my parents never really liked how Amanda and Derek talked about you. They thought it was disrespectful. But they never said anything because it's not really their place, you know?" "I appreciate you telling me all this," I said. "I just think you deserve better," Nicole replied. "Family shouldn't treat each other like that." After we said goodbye, I sat with my phone in my hand for a long time. Amanda had been talking about me behind my back for years, making me sound desperate, pathetic, a burden. And Derek had let her. Or maybe he'd agreed with her. Maybe he'd been the one to start it. I didn't reply. He didn't text again. Maybe a loan for baby expenses. He'd expect me to fall back into the pattern. And the old version of me would have. The old version of me would have jumped at the chance to be part of Derek's life again, even on his terms. But something had shifted. I didn't want to be part of Derek's life anymore. Not like that. I told her everything. The cruise, the money, the years of one-sided effort. "Do you think Derek is a bad person?" she asked me during one session. I thought about it. "I think Derek is someone who takes what he wants and doesn't think much about who it hurts," I said finally. "I don't know if that makes him bad or just selfish. Do you think he knows he's hurting you?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because I've told him. Not recently, but over the years. I've mentioned feeling like our relationship was one-sided. I've asked him to call more, to visit more, to include me. He'd always agree, say he'd do better, and then nothing would change." "So he heard you?" "He heard me. He just didn't care enough to change." Dr. Michaels nodded. "And now you're choosing not to participate anymore." "Yes." "How does that feel?" I thought about it. Lonely, I admitted, but also lighter. She smiled. "That makes sense." You're grieving the relationship you wanted while also releasing the burden of maintaining it alone. That was exactly it. "Hey, stranger," Martin said when I answered. "Hey, Martin, how are you?" "I'm good. Listen, Derek mentioned you two had some kind of falling out?" My jaw tightened. "Something like that." "He didn't really explain what happened, just said you'd gotten upset about something and stopped talking to him." "Of course, that's how Derek framed it." "That's not exactly accurate," I said carefully. "What happened?" I gave Martin the short version. The cruise, the cancellation, Derek's dismissal of the whole thing. Martin was quiet for a moment. "That's shitty," he said finally. "Yeah." "You want my honest opinion?" "Sure. Derek's always been a taker, even when he was a kid. His mom spoiled him, and I wasn't around enough to balance it out. I've watched him do this to people his whole life. He finds someone who'll give him something, time, money, attention, and he takes until there's nothing left." I didn't know what to say. "I'm not excusing it," Martin continued. "I'm just saying it doesn't surprise me. And I'm sorry he did it to you. You've been better to him than I ever was." "Thanks," I said quietly. "For what it's worth, you're probably better off keeping your distance. Derek doesn't know how to appreciate people. He just knows how to use them." After we hung up, I sat with that conversation for a long time. Even Derek's own father saw it. I wrote and deleted 4 different responses before finally settling on, "I'm not interested in talking right now." Derek replied immediately, "Come on, man, don't be like this." I didn't respond. He sent another text. "You're really going to throw away our whole relationship over one misunderstanding?" Then another. "You know what? Fine. If you want to be petty, go ahead." Then another. "This is really immature." I turned off my phone. 7 months after the cruise, I did something I'd been thinking about for a while. I wrote Derek a letter, not an email, a physical letter. I didn't do it because I thought it would change anything. I did it because I needed to say it. For myself, I wrote, "Derek, I've spent the last 7 months trying to understand what happened between us, and I think I finally do. For 10 years, I convinced myself that if I just tried hard enough, if I just gave enough, if I just showed up enough, you'd eventually see me as family. But you never did. To you, I was always just the guy who married your mom, the guy who had money you could borrow, the guy who was convenient when you needed something. I gave you $43,000 over the years. I was never counting at the time, but I counted recently. You never paid back a single dollar. You never even acknowledged most of it. I don't want the money back." That's not what this is about. What I wanted was for you to see me, to value me, to treat me like I mattered, but you didn't, and I kept making excuses for you. I kept telling myself you were busy, you were stressed, you were young, you'd come around eventually. The cruise was when I finally understood. You didn't accidentally cancel my reservation. You canceled it because you didn't want me there. You took my money and used it to upgrade your cabin, and then you lied about it. And when I confronted you, you didn't apologize. You didn't try to fix it. You made me feel like I was the problem for even bringing it up. That's when I realized that you know exactly what you're doing. This isn't about you being thoughtless or busy or young. This is about you choosing to treat me this way. So I'm done. I'm done trying to earn your respect. I'm done making excuses for you. I'm done pretending this is a real relationship. You're about to be a father. I hope you'll be a better one than I was a stepfather. I hope your child never has to wonder if you see them. I hope they never have to beg for your attention. But I'm not going to be part of your life anymore. Not like this. I wish you well. I really do. But I'm done. Robert, I mailed it the next day. Derek never responded. I looked at the photo for a long time. Derek looked happy. I closed Facebook and didn't open it again for a month. I didn't tell Derek I was moving. I updated my address with the post office, with my bank, with my insurance. But I didn't tell Derek. I realized, packing up my house, that there was nothing in it I'd need to pass on to him. No family heirlooms, no sentimental items. His mother's things had been given to him years ago. There was nothing tying us together anymore. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello? Hi, is this Robert Harrison?" "Yes." This is Patricia Montgomery. I'm a friend of Derek Patterson's. He gave me your number. I tensed. Okay. I'm calling because Derek mentioned you might be interested in making a loan to him and his wife. They're in a bit of a financial bind. Medical bills from the baby, some unexpected expenses. And they're looking for someone who could help them out with about $5,000. I closed my eyes. Of course. Derek asked you to call me, I said. Yes. He said you two had helped each other out financially in the past, and he thought you might be willing to— No, I said. I'm sorry? No, I'm not interested. Oh. Well, if it's a matter of the amount, I think they'd be open to— It's not the amount. The answer is no. There was a pause. May I ask why? Patricia said, her tone cooling. Because Derek is an adult who can solve his own financial problems. I see. Well, he did mention you might be difficult about this. Then he should have saved you the phone call. I hung up. My hands were shaking, not from anger, from relief. 11 months after the cruise, I went on a date. Her name was Janet. We'd met at a community art class. She was a recently retired teacher, loved hiking, had 2 adult children who lived out of state. We had coffee, then dinner, then a weekend trip to a cabin in the mountains. She asked about my family, and I told her the truth. I have a stepson, but we're not close. I'm sorry, she said. It's okay. It took me a long time, but I'm okay with it now, she nodded. Family is complicated. It really is. I know we didn't leave things well, and I'm sorry about that. I really am. But you're family, and family is supposed to help each other. Can we please talk? I really need your help right now. Derek, I read it twice. Then I archived it without responding. What more do you want? I'm asking you for help because I don't have anyone else to ask. Amanda's parents can't afford to help us. My dad won't return my calls. You're literally the only person I can turn to. Please, I'm begging you. Just $5,000. I'll pay you back, I promise. Derek, I deleted it. I know you and Derek aren't talking right now, but I'm calling because we're in a really bad situation. We're about to lose our house. We need help. I know Derek hurt your feelings or whatever, but this is serious. We have a baby. Please call me back. I didn't. We lost the house. We're staying with Amanda's parents. I lost my job. Everything is falling apart. I know you're mad at me. I get it. But I don't understand why you're punishing Emma for something I did. She's an innocent baby. She deserves to have a grandfather. If you won't help me, fine. But at least help her. Please. Derek. I read the letter standing by my mailbox. Then I walked inside, got a lighter from the kitchen drawer, and burned it in the sink. I watched the paper curl and blacken. When it was ash, I washed it down the drain. I don't know where they're living or how Emma is doing. I don't check Derek's social media. I don't ask mutual acquaintances about him. I let him go, completely. I've sold a few pieces at local craft fairs. I have friends I see regularly. I have hobbies I enjoy. I have a life that feels full. I don't miss Derek. I grieve sometimes, not for who Derek is, but for who I wanted him to be, for the relationship I thought we could have. But I don't miss him, and I don't regret walking away. Don't you wonder if he's okay? Don't you worry about Emma growing up without you? Don't you think families should forgive each other? And I answer honestly, yes, I think families should forgive each other. But I also think families should respect each other, value each other, treat each other with basic decency. Derek never did that. For 10 years, I was the only one trying. I was the only one giving. I was the only one showing up. And when I finally stopped, Derek didn't step up. He just looked for someone else to use. That's not family. That's just convenience. Maybe, but he'd have to prove it, not with words, with actions, over time. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't. And I'll be fine, she smiled. You've come a long way. I have, I agreed, and I meant it. Because I know the truth. I know I tried. I know I gave everything I had. I know the failure wasn't mine. It was his. How's Emma? With Amanda's parents most of the time, Derek's pretty much checked out. He moved to another state for a job. I thought about Emma, a little girl I'd never met, a little girl who'd probably never even heard my name. I hope she's okay, I said. Me too, Nicole replied. Hey, for what it's worth, I think you made the right choice. Cutting Derek off. He hasn't changed at all. If anything, he's gotten worse. Thanks for telling me. After we stopped messaging, I sat outside on my porch with a cup of coffee. I thought about Derek, about who he'd become, about the choices he'd made. And then I thought about Emma. I hoped she'd have someone in her life who would show up for her, who would see her, who would value her. But I knew that person wouldn't be me, and I was okay with that. You can't make someone love you. You can't earn respect from someone who doesn't believe you deserve it. You can't force a relationship to exist when only one person wants it. All you can do is decide what you're willing to tolerate. And I decided I wasn't willing to tolerate being used anymore. I wasn't willing to keep giving to someone who only took. I wasn't willing to keep hoping Derek would change. So I walked away. Not with anger, not with revenge, not with drama. I just stopped. And in the quiet space that followed, I found something I hadn't expected. Peace, dignity, myself. I'm 62 years old now. I spent 10 years trying to be Derek's father. I'll spend the rest of my life being enough just as I am.